You know that feeling when someone cuts you off in traffic and suddenly your whole morning is ruined? Or when you check your phone and see a passive-aggressive text, and for the next 3 hours, you can't focus on anything else? Your heart's racing, your jaw is clenched. And that one moment, that one stupid moment, has hijacked your entire day. Here's the truth. It's not the traffic that ruined your morning. It's not the text that stole your peace. It was your reaction to it. And I know what you're thinking. Easy for you to say. But what if I told you that 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor figured out the exact formula for never letting external chaos disturb your inner peace again? What if the answer to our modern anxiety, our constant stress, our feeling of being overwhelmed, was already written down by a man who ruled an empire, fought wars, dealt with betrayal, plague, and personal tragedy, yet remained calm through it all? That man was Marcus Aurelius. And today we're diving deep into the Stoic practice of calmness, not the fake everything is fine calmness, but the real unshakable tranquility that comes from understanding one simple truth that will change your life. Comment below right now, I choose calmness, if you're ready to take control of your inner peace. Let's start by destroying a myth. Stoic calmness is not about being emotionless. It's not about becoming a robot or suppressing your feelings. The Stoics weren't trying to create cold, unfeeling people. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Think about that. You have power over your mind, not outside events. This is the foundation of everything. Most of us live our lives as if we're victims of our circumstances, victims of other people's actions, victims of bad luck. We wake up and immediately start reacting to the world. Traffic, emails, news, people's opinions. And each reaction chips away at our peace. But here's what the Stoics understood that we've forgotten. There are only two types of things in this world. Things you can control, your reactions, your judgments, your actions, your thoughts, and the things you cannot control. Other people's opinions, the weather, the traffic, the past, other people's actions. And here's where it gets interesting. We spend 90% of our mental energy worrying about things in that second category, the things we cannot control. And we spend maybe 10% of our energy on the things we actually can control. The Stoics said, flip that ratio, spend 100% of your energy on what you can control and 0% on what you cannot. Like this video if you've ever wasted a whole day worrying about something you couldn't control. Let me give you a modern example that will make this crystal clear. Imagine you're going for a job promotion. You've worked hard for 2 years. You deserve it. The interview is tomorrow. Here's how most people approach this situation. They lie awake the night before thinking, what if they don't like me? What if someone gets it instead? What if I mess up the interview? What if they think I'm not qualified? What if the company is looking for someone different? Notice what's happening here. Every single one of those thoughts is about something you cannot control. You cannot control whether they like you. You cannot control whether someone gets it. You cannot control what they're looking for. Now here's how a Stoic approaches the same situation. They think, I can control how well I prepare. I can control showing up on time. I can control being honest about my qualifications. I can control giving my best effort in that room. I can control my attitude regardless of the outcome. See the difference? Same situation. Completely different mental state. The first person will be anxious, stressed, probably won't sleep well, and might even perform worse in the interview because of that anxiety. And if they don't get the promotion? Devastated, days or weeks of misery. The second person sleeps fine, shows up prepared, does their best, and if they don't get the promotion? Disappointed, sure, but not devastated, because they know they did everything within their control. The rest was never theirs to control anyway. Marcus Aurelius faced this constantly. As emperor, he dealt with Senate members plotting against him, generals betraying him, plagues killing his people. He wrote, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Was he being pessimistic? No, he was being prepared. He was reminding himself that other people's behavior is not within his control, but his response to them, totally within his control. Like and comment. I control my response if this is clicking for you. Now let's talk about what happens when something actually goes wrong, because life isn't just about job interviews and traffic. Sometimes real obstacles hit us hard. The Stoics had a practice that sounds almost ridiculous at first. They said that every obstacle, every difficulty, every problem is actually an opportunity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment into action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." I know, when you're going through something difficult, the last thing you want to hear is, "This is an opportunity for growth." But stick with me. Let me give you a real example. Let's say you get fired from your job. Unfairly, your boss didn't like you, made up a reason, and now you're out. Your most likely response, "This is terrible. This is unfair. I'm a victim. My life is ruined. I hate my boss. I can't believe this happened to me. Now I have to tell people I got fired. This is embarrassing. What will people think?" All of those thoughts are focused on things you cannot control. What happened, what people think, the unfairness of it all. But the Stoic response, "This happened. I cannot change it. What can I learn from this? Was I truly performing at my best? How can I improve for the next opportunity? This frees me to find something better. This shows me who my real friends are. This is a test of my character. How will I respond with dignity?" See, the Stoics weren't naive. They knew life was full of injustice, suffering, and difficulty. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, was actually a slave for much of his life. He was literally enslaved. He couldn't leave, couldn't quit, couldn't control his own circumstances. Yet he became one of the most influential philosophers in history. How? He focused entirely on his mind, his character, his responses. The one thing no one could take from him. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Here's a personal story. A few years ago, I was betrayed by someone I considered a close friend. They spread lies about me, damaged my reputation, cost me opportunities. I was furious. For weeks, I was consumed by it. I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying conversations, thinking of what I should have said, fantasizing about revenge or vindication. Then I read this line from Marcus Aurelius: "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." It hit me like a lightning strike. I was letting this person control me. They'd already hurt me once with their actions, and now I was hurting myself over and over by replaying it constantly in my mind. So I made a decision. I couldn't control what they did or what people believed, but I could control who I became in response. I could become bitter, angry, vindictive, or I could become better. I could let this obstacle become the way forward. I focused on my work, on being the kind of person whose character speaks for itself, on building genuine relationships with people who mattered. And you know what happened? Within 6 months, the truth came out naturally. I didn't have to do anything. But more importantly, I had grown. Give a like if you want to stop letting someone's actions control your peace. Now, I want to teach you one of the most powerful and misunderstood Stoic practices: negative visualization. The Stoics would regularly imagine losing the things they valued most: their health, their wealth, their loved ones, their status. Sounds depressing, right? Why would you do that? Here's why. Because it's going to happen anyway. You will lose things. People you love will leave. Your health will decline. Your career will end. Everything is temporary. The Stoics weren't being morbid. They were being realistic. And here's the magic. When you regularly contemplate loss, two things happen. First, you appreciate what you have right now. Marcus Aurelius would wake up and think, "I might not see the sunset today. I might not see my children again. This might be my last conversation with this person." Did that make him sad? No, it made him present. It made him grateful. It made him cherish each moment. Second, when loss actually comes, and it will, you're not destroyed by it. You're prepared. You've already processed it mentally. You know that everything is borrowed. Nothing is truly owned. Let me give you a practical example. You're in a relationship. It's going well. The Stoic practice isn't to constantly worry that your partner will leave. It's to occasionally remind yourself, this person has their own free will. They could leave. Circumstances could separate us. Life is uncertain. Does this make you paranoid? No. It makes you appreciate them more. It makes you treat them better. It makes you cherish the time you have together instead of taking them for granted. And if something does happen, a breakup, a change, you're not completely blindsided. You're devastated. Yes, you're sad. Absolutely. The Stoics weren't trying to eliminate sadness. They were trying to eliminate the extra suffering we add through our resistance to reality. Seneca, another great Stoic, wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about how true this is. How many times have you worried about something that never happened? How many hours have you spent catastrophizing about futures that never came to pass? How much have you suffered in your imagination? The practice of negative visualization isn't about dwelling on the negative. It's about preparing yourself so that you spend less time suffering in imagination and more time living in reality. Like, comment, and subscribe if you are ready to build an unshakable mind. Remember, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond. And you, right here, right now, have the power to choose calmness. Thank you for watching.